Good Monday morning. Thanks for listening in. If you have never listened to the show before, I'd like to introduce myself. I'm Sissy Fegelstaller, and the name of the show is Sissy's Social Circle. Each week I'll have on interesting guests and hot topics, and we'll just cover a variety of subjects. Maybe things you've heard of before, maybe things you haven't, but definitely something that you can walk away from listening to, and you've learned a little something new. Today in the studio with me, I have two wonderful guests. I have Ken Cagle to my left, and to my other left, I have Karen Visor, two local Cleveland people. I'm sure you know probably already, or you've heard of them, and they're bringing something to Cleveland that we haven't had. Maybe we've had once before.
We did.
And it is called Fiberworks, and it's a fashion show and market. And if you've never heard of it, it is wearable art. Karen, you've been involved with this for a long time. You're an artist yourself.
Yeah.
And so tell us some of the things that you make.
What I like to do is take a white piece of fabric, and then I dye it at different colors. And sometimes I'll dye it 2 or 3 times to layer up the different colors. And then I will, I might stamp it. I might discharge it, which means you bleach out part of the colors, or I'll stencil on it. Just add a bunch of layers of design to it. And then I like to make clothing out of that, or scarves. But clothing is kind of my passion.
Now, what got you interested in this?
You know, I look back on it and I can't think why. I went to San Antonio to take this class on dyeing fabric, and I can't remember why I did that. I left my daughter. She was the starring role in a church musical, and I missed that. Because I wanted to go to San Antonio to take this class. I mean, I've always sewn and I love clothing, but I can't remember why I got into the dyeing. And now I have a nice studio that I spread out and make all kinds of things. And it's really wonderful. It's so much fun. Every time you take something out of the dye pot, you're just so surprised to see how it's turned out, because you never really know for sure what's going to happen.
You don't. And I have a girl, actually, that I went to high school with, and she majored in studio art and worked for several years for Shaw Industries. Uh-huh. And she quit a few years ago and opened her own business with dyeable art and wearable art. And so she is in the Chattanooga area, and she always sets up at the Chattanooga market. And her name is Julie Jones, and she owns Julie Bell Designs. Do you know her?
Well, we had talked with her about, she couldn't make this show, but sometime we would like to have her in the show.
She's fantastic. And so when you think, sometimes those of us that are not into this, or that we don't know very much about it, we sort of close off our mind and think, I think this is just tie-dyed. Well, I don't wear tie-dyed. I'm telling you, I've gone to Julie's website, and it's Julie Bell Designs, and she has amazing, beautiful things for great prices, but things that you would not find elsewhere. And it's not all about the hippie tie-dyed stuff. It's gorgeous, unique art.
Well, that's what we're showing you some. These are some of the artists that are going to be there, and it is not the old lady funky stuff. There are some a lot of beautiful, very fitted, beautifully crafted things that you would be happy to wear to any of your junior auxiliary balls or anything. They really would fit in quite and be quite lovely.
Well, I have to admit, last year I was just blown away by the quality of the work.
Yeah.
And the artist. Once you meet the artist and look at the quality of work that they offer, it was amazing. I was really, really just blown away by the whole event. It was great.
I'm interested in this Susan Parks adornments.
Yes.
That's
Susan
beautiful.
is an artist that we sell her jewelry in the store. And I say we like I'm still there, but I'm still a big part of the museum. But she's a great artist that we sell her work in the museum store.
She's in Chattanooga. Is she in Cleveland?
She is originally, I think, from Cleveland. I think she's teaching in Chattanooga, but we still stay connected with her.
She says on her website, she's collected beads, rocks, and minerals and unusual objects, woven them together to express a color palette, a place, or to make things for special people in her life. And all of these people typically will have a degree in fine arts or something focusing on textiles. It's not just, these are very experienced people.
They are. One of our weavers, though, has a degree in theology from Sewanee.
Yes.
But she has been, so they have a very wide background, but they all are experts at what they do. A lot of them are teachers from John C. Campbell or Aramont, some of the craft and arts camps around here, and some of them teach all over the nation. One of our artists, Jerry Faulkner, just got back from Thailand, where she goes to teach. So these people know what they're doing.
Yeah. Would you all say that? What's your percentage as far as the clothing versus the jewelry that'll be showcased at this art show?
Well, Susan is our only jeweler artist because we've tried to keep it to stitching or weaving, and not to get into the metals, which you do with jewelry. But Susan actually sews her beads onto leather backing, so she technically fit into that category.
That was smart because I just noticed that there's a huge influx of stay-at-home moms or people that are a little bit getting interested in jewelry. And then once you get into that, in my opinion, a lot of it looks the same.
Yeah.
and so if you're looking for a truly unique piece that you wouldn't see anywhere else, I think that Susan Parks is really creative, very creative. She would, it looks like the pieces she creates would be one that if you wore them somewhere, definitely you would get attention and people would, it's more than a statement piece.
Yeah, and she's bringing some of her larger pieces to put into the show because they're going to look good from the stage. And then with the show, we'll combine it with somebody else's jacket or vest or scarf. And so you can, it's when you see them worn, you realize how great they are. Some things don't have hanger appeal, but when they get on a person, a model, they just shine. Last year, after the show, there was a real rush to buy because people had seen things in the show and things that had not been selling before. Once they saw somebody wearing them, people had to have them. It was interesting to see what a difference that made.
Well, I definitely want to talk more about the people in the show, but I'm sure listeners right now are wondering when this show is going to happen. It is at the Museum Center at 5 Points here in Cleveland, down on Inman Street. If you're listening from Chattanooga, it's in the heart of Cleveland. The name of the show is Fiber Works Fashion Show and Market, and it's going to be on a Saturday, March 29th, 10 to 3. That's a fantastic time. So if you have small children and your husband's home, you don't have to get a babysitter, nor are you going to have to force your husband to go, because I know my husband would say, I'd rather be home with the kids than to look at clothes or art.
Exactly.
I'd have to really bribe him good to go to the show. But it would be a great opportunity to get some girlfriends together and go to this. Will you all, now I'm all about food, will you all have food there?
Yeah, exactly. This year, we're excited to have back, once again, Erica Coomer from Chattanooga, Swiss Am Catering. If you've ever had her food, and she did a wonderful job last year, it's a great luncheon. It really is, and the price point is super too, but we're excited to have her back.
How much are tickets? Do you buy a ticket before you
do.
go?
Tickets are $28 for members, $35 for non-members. So you can go on the website. We have that set up at the museum where you can go on the website to purchase your tickets, or call Hewlin at the museum store, and he'll be glad to take your information over the phone to get you set up.
This is a wonderful girls' day out that doesn't cost too much.
It's great.
If you went out, I would say, to a nice restaurant for dinner and a group of girls, you're going to spend $60. And this way, you won't come home inebriated.
Right.
And you still have the rest of the day.
Yeah.
And the tickets are great because, it does include your lunch and the fashion show. And quite honestly, not very often in this area do we get the chance to go to a fashion show or even one that's unique like this.
It is so unique. I mean, I just can't begin to tell you how wonderful it is. I mean, I was excited to be a part of it last year, but really excited to work with Karen to host it again. And I also want to sort of give hats off to Medford Retirement Group for being one of our sponsors. And I'd also like to add, what we're doing this year is we would like to find table host. Maybe you could be a host of a table.
Now I know why they want to come on the show.
But there's a good catch
You
to
have
this.
7 friends, don't you?
I think I could come up with a few.
You as a table host are responsible for just gathering up 7 friends to buy a ticket. We're not asking you to sponsor a table, although we'd love it. But if you could gather up 7 good friends that you'd love to have a table and just sell the tickets. That's what we'd love to have, is people to be a table host. And obviously the profits go to support the museum's programs. They've got some great things if you want to go on the museum's website to look at what's going on at the museum. Wonderful programs coming up in the next several months.
Is this what takes the place of some of the other things that they've had in the past, like the Sister Schubert? This is the event that takes the place of those?
Right. For years, we've always had what we called a vintage luncheon.
Right.
This is sort of a continuation of that. We thought, well, to promote the artist in the museum store, which we sell fiber art there, we thought, well, this would be a great way to do more exposure about this great art. And Karen is such a phenomenal artist, and she has all these connections with people in Asheville and Cleveland and Chattanooga that, last year was amazing. I just can't say how wonderful it was. You've got to come.
People were so surprised. We were surprised. We didn't know what we were doing. We tried to cover the bases the best we could.
But it looked great, though. It looked great.
That day, the energy there, people who came as participants were amazed and had such a good time. The artists had such a good time and sold very well. And so we have 7 new artists this year because they heard how good it was last year. It's like, this is a great place to come. We have artists from Asheville.
And how many do you have from Asheville?
4 or 5. We have one coming from Atlanta. We have somebody from Florida. And another fun thing last year was finding all the local artists too. I didn't realize how many talented people we have in this area. So we've got our local artists also from the Cleveland and Chattanooga area. It was just it was really fun last year, and we just couldn't wait to sit down and pick the date for doing it this year.
We did.
Do you all have a runway in the center of the room?
We do.
Yeah.
And then with each artist, do they bring their own models?
No, we had a really great group of models last year, and most of them are coming back this year because, again, they had so much fun. And we had, I think, 8 models, and they came down 2 or 3 at a time to, model. We put them together in color themes last year, and we'll do something different this year. And so they send in, we have 3 or 4 articles per artist that get to be in the show. But then they also, at their vendor table, they have a whole lot of other things, too. So,
do you all pass out a piece of paper that has just sort of a showcase of the artist, where you can locate them? And I'm wondering, if I were to come there and maybe I did not bring cash on me, but I wanted to purchase something later, is there anywhere local that carries these things or items, or do you just find the artist?
Well, some of the artists that you'll see at the show, we do sell their work in the store. There's a wonderful artist, Judy Gaston from Knoxville.
Here's one of her scarves.
Amazing artist.
But she does some great jackets, too.
So
really.
she's somebody
wow.
that we do sell her work in the store.
She'll do a jacket like this.
We have Karen Visor's work in the store.
Yes.
And several other artists.
Yeah. A Jerry Faulkner. Well, I don't know if she has anything.
I don't think we do. I don't think we have Jerry's.
But they'll all have cards. But, yeah, we will have the information printed up on the program that we hand out.
I think that's a beautiful scarf. What did she use? Just it's woven?
Mm-hmm. And then she adds beads and stuff to it. Her jackets are really neat. I was just up in Asheville at some of their art galleries and saw a bunch of some of her jackets up there. And
I wonder how long it takes her to make something like this. It's a beautiful multicolored, lots of different threads. If you're just listening on the radio, and it has 2 ribbons down the center with some beads. But it looks, to me, I think it looks very expensive, but yet unique and handmade. And
interesting. These are things that you're going to buy and have for years to come.
Oh yeah.
I really believe that. The quality of the garments last year that the ladies were buying.
Yeah.
They're an investment kind of piece of art. But it's a wearable art and something you're going to have for years to come. And I was just real amazed. But Judy Gaston's one of my favorite artists. Yeah, and she's coming this year, right?
Yeah, she is coming.
Last year she's not able to be there, but she did send garments and sweaters. But she's going to be there this year. We're excited
and that's
to
fun.
have her.
Most of the artists will be there, so you get to go and talk to them. And they'll tell you the process, how they did it, how she can tell you how she chose to weave those. Somebody last year had a scarf that I still can't figure this out. She wove it out of rose fiber. Mm-hmm. She took, roses and I guess smashed them up and turned them into fiber and spun it. And then she knit this shawl that was made from roses.
Isn't that amazing? Just creative minds, because typical people who don't think outside the box, and then you think, how did you come up with that idea? And then the ability to know how to do it.
Right.
Yes.
Well, and the other thing is you'll never see anybody else wearing anything you purchase at this show. You've got a one-of-a-kind garment that's made with the best fibers. If you're going to put this much time into something, you don't want to scrimp and go to Walmart and get some cheap yarn. They use the best. or they'll spin their own. We've got Susan Goodwin coming from Alpaca.
Some of my favorite things I wear in the winter have come from her.
Well, last year they were sponsors, Foster's Alpaca Farms, Susan and Peter Goodwin. And the great thing about the show last year, at the very end of the show, we kind of had a surprise guest.
Really?
And it was an alpaca that came on the stage, that came down the runway with her.
Oh, that's
and she was wearing a sweater.
A sweater.
Oh, the alpaca was?
That was
Too
from
funny.
the alpaca that was modeling on the stage. So it was just a great surprise. It was wonderful.
And that's another thing. Susan brought a lot of neat stuff, but she brought us this shrug for the show, and it just looks like a pile of nothing. Then you put it on. It's what I'm saying. You put on this shrug, and it was so beautiful. It was like, it would be great to wear in the evening because it was quite dressy. In fact, I went back at Christmas and bought one for my daughter-in-law because she's always cold. And when you go out at night and you need to look nice, you can put on this alpaca shrug, look like $1 million, but be warm. And that was another thing that I think when you saw it in the show, you thought, oh, I want one of those.
Right.
Oh, yeah. I've been in there. I bought hats for all my kids. We all have hats.
Yeah.
The cute little Swedish kind that have the little braided down the side. I love that. And then we all have scarves. And they're bright, beautiful colors, and they're so soft. And so the kids like the idea that it came from alpaca.
And it's local. Isn't that great that you bought something?
Well, you can even get the name of the particular animal that it comes from, because that shrug that I bought had, I can't remember, Sunny or something. That's the one that it came from. So that's kind of neat, too.
I love that. And I think about those hats and the scarf. I love it when I do wear those because I know it's unique.
Right.
And I really kind of would love for somebody to ask me, where did I get those? And I'll have them for 20 plus years. They'll never go out of style.
Exactly. And that's what I said.
Unique.
You're buying these for years to come. It's an investment in a piece of art, yet you're going to be able to enjoy it and wear it.
Yeah.
So has it been difficult as you've been planning this out to keep your focus just on wearable art? Because if you had other people say, can we do our pottery in it? Has that been difficult?
Not really.
No, because that's all we're interested in. There's plenty of other places to get the pottery and stuff. And, there is an art show at the museum for that kind of stuff. And I guess that's why this is so much fun, because it's kind of rare to have something that is focused entirely on clothing, garments, and accessories. And I think that's why people enjoy coming to it. There's a lot of art shows out there.
And we have so much talent in Cleveland.
We do.
I want to say last year there was the Callaway girl that lives in Nashville. And was she able to come back?
No, she's going to be in New
but
York.
she was our moderator last year, and she was in hog heaven. She's been
Callaway.
up to New York. She's been into New York and Nashville, and she still was blown away by this show. That's why I was really proud of what we had.
I can't remember the specifics with her, but I know she's written for several major fashion magazines. And
she in New York Post, she used to cover, go over to Milan and Paris and cover their fashion shows.
I love it.
Mm-hmm.
Little old small town Cleveland girl.
I know.
Makes it in the big city, and she still comes back.
Yeah, she was real disappointed because she's going to be out of town.
She's up in the Bronx right now for a couple of months, so she couldn't come back. But she enjoyed it. Her whole family had a really good time.
But maybe next year she can come back, and and that's always nice. And to say that she enjoyed it a lot and looked forward to it and got a lot from it. Mm-hmm. This is someone who's traveled all over the world with a lot of experience.
What I thought. Yeah.
So it's bringing it here into town.
I know it, and that's why I'm just excited that there were several artists who couldn't be in the show this year because of logistics and all that, and they all want to be in it next year. And so that says a lot too, that the artists want to come back. It's worth their while.
And it's just going to continue to grow.
Well, we hope so.
How many artists would you say do you have on the list for this year?
We have 15. Mm-hmm. And last year we had 17, and it was a little crowded, so we cut back a little bit. But 15 really good ones. And I'm excited that we have new ones, because we don't, you don't want to have the same thing year after year. It's got to change.
Right.
And
we're thinking about, as far as ticket sales, we're hoping 150 at the max, right?
Yeah, we don't want, we want this to be a pleasant experience. And when you're buying clothing, you need to have the room to try it on and walk around. And so.
And the great experience about this is you get the chance to visit with the artist. We want you to be able to go up and talk to the artist, and she can tell you how this was made and her story behind it, and you get a personal story from her or him. We did have a guy last year who did some amazing work. He was a nurse out of Chattanooga. But you just get a chance to meet the artist, and that really puts a good story behind the item.
What would you say is, so you have some people who'll be making scarves, and you have the lady making the beautiful art piece, the wearable art, the necklace, which is attached to leather. What are some other things you might find there?
Okay, I've got my list, so I don't want to forget any.
No.
Well, we have in that packet and those Xerox things. There's a woman here. If you'll, this will be easier. Okay. We've talked about Susan Parks.
I like all of them. I that first one you gave me with the I can't remember which one that was. That is beautiful.
This is Cara Mae Knits. She's from Asheville, and she does. So I just saw her stuff this weekend. Kind of a very thin, loose knit. You can see how just really interesting shapes.
It is. I keep thinking too. All my yogi friends,
Yeah.
would love all of
yes,
this.
exactly.
And it looks like something, incredibly unique, but that you would have spent quite a bit of money on. I mean, it looks to me like fine clothing,
It
but yet
is.
casual.
It's not. These are not Walmart prices, but they are not astronomical either. There's and actually we're going to have something in about every price range. We say $10 on up to $1,000,
Right.
and you're not going to be sorry.
I would wear this a lot, and I'll put it in
Well,
front
we
of the
said that
screen.
earlier. It looks just like you.
We did. We
So-
saw her stuff,
So that
and
looks like me. Yeah, I do love that. And I think, and the nice thing too is that I think it could reach any age bracket. So you're not looking at clothes here just for an older generation.
Right.
This is for younger generation or even a teenager. Yeah, it's not revealing, but a teenager I think would wear this in
Right.
addition to someone my age.
Right.
well. That's what I tell my daughter while I look at some of my stuff. And she says, "That's nice for somebody your age." That's their compliment they give me. But
That's the compliment.
but you want to think about. You want to have stuff for all the different ages. And I saw her stuff, but I can see anybody wearing that. I mean, that's just pretty cool.
Well, even last year, I was a model, and I
Yes.
modeled a kimono.
And did you think, how did they get me into this?
I'll do anything. You know me.
Oh, he wanted. He
But,
Remember
uh,
that,
to be a-
people.
Great looking kimono for the guys. I mean, it was pretty impressive.
This is another one. This is another neat one that I think would suit anybody. We're really excited to have her, what's her, Diane Totten from Atlanta. And this is called shibori. If you can see that it's real crinkled up.
You
The
can sort of
texture is
see
very
it there.
crinkled, so it's going to be nice and drapey.
And very comfortable. And something like this, if you are someone who travels,
Yeah.
this would be something
Oh, yeah.
beautiful to wear in the airport so that your husband could find you if he loses you, yet comfortable enough that it would not wrinkle up on the flight
That's
and
true.
still look like $1 million
Well,
when you get off.
it's all hand woven, and then the crinkles are heat set into it, so that's going to stay there forever.
Now, with this wearable art, would you say that most of it you can clean yourself, or is it dry clean only?
Well, yes. People don't realize, like this silk, this vest that I made has been through the washer and the dryer, hot wash, hot dry, at least 3 times
It looks brand new.
for all the different processes that it goes through. So these are not delicate type things. Here's something, one of our favorite hand weavers, Liz Spear, has done these. Now, those have a little tailoring in them, so you couldn't wash them in the washing machine because they've been lined, and that's why I love her. Her stuff has got couture sewing. It's as beautiful on the inside as the outside. She'll use silk linings, and they're nice and they're fitted. They're not real boxy, so they're very flattering and contemporary looking.
This would be something good. Years ago, I was in pharmaceutical sales, and this would have been something wonderful. And you could just pair with a pair of black
Exactly.
slacks,
Exactly.
and it looks so nice. And the red jacket reminds me of a custom suit I had made when I was in Thailand, and I went to the market and picked out the red silk for it.
Yeah.
And, it's funny. I picked out this red silk. I did not realize how unique it was, but I had a typical suit made. It was a pantsuit made,
Yeah.
and then I waited for it to be shipped back here. I couldn't wait, but it was custom. I picked every little detail of the suit out. I will never, get rid of that ever.
Just like this.
Just like that.
Same thing.
Yeah.
Same
Custom.
thing.
But the funny thing is, I went into one of my offices, and the doctors in that office were some of my favorites, and they were Pakistani. And I say that as in here we say Pakistani, but the proper pronunciation is Pakistani, just so you know.
That's
Okay.
good to know.
I found that out from a friend of mine who is Pakistani. So when you hear Obama say it, and you think, Psst, he is not saying it right. Really, he is. I know, we think Pakistani. I know for years people have made fun of him, but really it's Pakistani. Anyways, okay, so I digress. So anyways, so I go into this office where the doctors are Pakistani, and they said, where did you get that? You didn't buy that suit here. I couldn't believe it. No one else had noticed. And I said, I did not. I picked the fabric out in Thailand and I had it custom made there. And they said, we can tell because you can only get that fabric there.
Wow.
Ooh.
Isn't that interesting?
That's
I need to wear that. I should have worn that today. I don't know. I could fit into us pre-kids.
I'm sure you could.
I'd have to put one of those
All those
rubber bands
yoga.
around the belt, the buttons around my waist.
Well, I mean, and see, you could wear this in a professional situation, and you
Yeah.
would look different, but you would still look professional, you know. So,
Well, I think it was really exciting because Nancy Scruggs came last year.
Yeah.
And she bought one of, I think Liz, one of her pieces, and looks like $1 million in it. But it's a beautiful piece. It's a beautiful garment that she'll have for years to come.
And unique, so that the artist probably, once they make that, there's not another one that's going to be exactly like it.
it's like your suit, that particular fabric was actually woven for this. The buttons, everything about it is unique. Like say, she'll never do that one again. That's it. This is another. Karen Swing is coming from Florida. Well, she's not coming. She's sending some articles, and what she does is this is a lot more casual. She gets recycled garments, and then if you look on the next page, you can see how she dyes them and then stamps over them, and so you're going to get a real relaxed type of shirt, but it has a lot of texture and design on it.
I would love one of these. It says that it's one of a kind, affordable work of wearable art, and they're made from secondhand blouses. And so I'm looking at these, and I see several of them. I would love to. Yoga pants are so popular now, and people just throw those on and wear anywhere. And when I am off at the studio and I'm practicing yoga, I'm often looking for something that'll cover my hiney when I'm leaving. And so I don't look completely inappropriate. It's okay when you're in the studio to look inappropriate, but when you leave, you're back in the real world. And so I could throw one of these on and be comfortable, and I'm sure it's very soft and one of a kind.
because it's been through them. I think she does a lot of linen stuff, and the more you wash and dry linen, the softer it gets. So that would be really comfortable. And Jill Barnett is also doing the same thing with children's clothes. So she's going to have, she goes to yard sales and stuff, and just sell things and gets white. She's always looking for white stuff. And then she'll dye them and do the same thing with kids' clothes. So that'll be fun to see that too.
Oh, yeah, and kids love that. I know we have a few tie-dye T-shirts for my children. They are absolutely their favorite shirts.
They do like that.
And I tell you, and I've been looking for a tie-dyed, bright colored tie-dyed long sleeve T-shirt for a long time. So I went to no, that's an odd thing to look for. And so then this past September, I went to this pool bar in Hilton Head, and they were selling them, and it says Pool Bar Gym. So I said, that's the shirt for me.
There you go.
And I wore it home on the plane, and I wore it through the drive-thru at the Starbucks. It's very catchy. It's very bright. And the guy on the drive-thru said, wow, I haven't seen a shirt like that since the 70s. So your clothes you'll put me in a different bracket and make me look a lot nicer than my Pool Bar Gym's tie-dyed shirt.
Well, we might have some bright stuff too.
I don't think my husband likes it, but the kids do because they say you match us.
Well, when my kids were little, I brought a bunch of them in. I said, go home and get a white T-shirt. We're going to do some tie-dye out in the backyard. And I thought this would be a fun thing to do. Mm-hmm. And they all kind of, and nobody really wanted to do it. But we kind of did a couple of them, and then all of a sudden they were running home. They were getting everything they could find to tie dye.
Their mother's nice silk sheets.
We spent the day tie dyeing all this stuff. So you can get your boys out there doing making their own tie dye.
I've tie dyed once at Halloween with the neighborhood kids, and we made little jack o' lanterns and orange and tie dyed T-shirts, and that went over well. And then I tie dyed last year. I'm really active in the Boy Scouts and the Cub Scouts, and I'm a den leader. And I have some boys that are a little spirited, we might say. And they have a lot of energy. And so tie-dyeing the shirts. I mean, I thought my head was going to spin off my shoulders because the tie-dye going everywhere and it was a mess. And
it's hard, yes.
But they really loved those shirts. And I'm glad they did. I mean, I think I needed 2 Xanax at the end of the night.
Once again, it was a handmade piece that they love and they'll always cherish.
And they made it. I think kids love.
Yeah, they had a good time making
it. Yeah,
they do, and it's a great thing. Do you now with the area high schools? Do they have any sort of classes that any kind of art classes with this, or not so much?
I don't. I know that Cleveland State, way long ago, used to have a really great art department that they did silk screening and they did batik and all that kind of stuff. But, this was before, at least 25, 30 years ago. I don't think, they don't have the funding and stuff to do this anymore. So that's why there are opportunities. We have John C. Campbell Folk School, which is up past Murphy, North Carolina.
I've heard of that. Absolutely,
amazing.
yeah.
You can go, and a lot of our
Amazing.
artists teach there. You can go for a week. It is like camp for adults. I've gone quite a few times and just
love it.
You go and you spend the whole day learning a technique, and you can. So there are opportunities to learn this stuff. Yeah, you go there in the morning. They have the best food. You go for breakfast, and you all sit everybody's in there together. And then you go off to your class, and then they ring the bell at lunchtime, and you go back and you eat another good meal. And then they ring, you go off and work, and then they ring the bell again. So you eat a lot.
Ken, have you been?
I've been to their store. They have a store there at the folk school. It's an amazing place to buy, one of a kind art. We have catalogs at the museum about all the classes that they offer, and every year I pick out 1 or 2 classes. I want to become a chef one of these days. But
Yeah, they have cooking
They
classes.
offer cooking classes. I bet they have 200-300 classes.
They have cooking classes, fiber arts, woodworking, metal stuff, photography,
and they've been there since
watercolors.
the late 20s and 30s.
Yeah, a woman from Nantucket started it to help out. It was on the folk school model to help some of the Appalachian people, get a skill.
Right.
And it's obviously changed way since then. So now it's all people going there for their vacations and just hanging out and having fun.
Karen, did you spend a whole week there?
Oh, I've spent several weeks
Have
there.
you? How often do you get to go?
Well, I would like to go like 3 or 4 times a year, but
Your husband might say, hey, now.
it's just usually I try to go once a year because it's just really, there's several places up at Sewanee is Shake Rag, and they have a good school, and Aramont in Gatlinburg. You go to they're all 3 the same model, and they're all wonderful and bring in terrific teachers.
It's been years, and I can't remember where I heard about that school, but it's what's the name of the folk school again?
John C. Campbell.
John C. Campbell, and it's probably, what would you say, a 2 or 3 hour drive from
Oh,
Cleveland?
no.
Hour and 20 minutes.
Hour and 20 minutes from my door to their door.
Well, then, I wonder, could you plan a Saturday there?
Oh.
Well, I know that some of their classes are like a Thursday through Sunday. Is that
Yeah,
right?
usually, yeah.
Most of them are week-long classes.
They sometimes will have a Saturday when they have a big fair, and you come in and there are a lot of vendors and stuff there.
Some of the artists that will be showcased at the art show, did you all make any connections through this John C. Campbell School? Or
I'm trying to think how we...
I'm sure they've had connections at that school as well.
Oh, yeah, so a lot of them teach there, or they'll teach at Aramont or Shake Rag up in Sewanee.
Well, I think we came up with this idea through Jerry Faulkner. I thought we would like to try and do something like this a couple of years ago. So
Jerry has been did this for about 10 or 15 years
Monroe
in
County Area
Tellico
Arts.
Plains.
Yeah, the Monroe County Area Arts. They did it there for quite a few years, and then we brought her on board last year.
Yeah, she's been a wonderful...
And
she's been a
where does
great-
she live?
She lives in Tellico Plains.
Does she?
Yeah, she's a great artist. So she knew a lot of people that we made contact with, or Karen did, to invite them to the first show last year. And she's been a great source of knowledge for this.
Yeah, the first year we just sent out invitations, to everybody that we thought would be wonderful. And we were so excited. Liz Spear said she's coming. We were just like,
Yeah.
when you get some of these really good artists who just they've never heard of us, just randomly said yes, but they've been a wonderful support, and they have brought on new artists this year because last year's show went so well.
I mean, that says a lot about the museum and what this is offering. I mean, these folks from Asheville are coming back.
That is nice.
They're coming back to a second time to the show. They were so pleased.
And they do shows all over the place. They love the museum. The facility is so nice. The people, the staff was wonderful. It was just a very good experience for them.
Will you have a speaker, or is who will do the emceeing or moderate the fashion show?
We're working on that. We had somebody, and unfortunately, she had a scheduling conflict. So I've got a couple of people in mind.
How long will the fashion show typically last?
We try to keep it to about 30 minutes, because you eat, and then, some people would like it to be twice that long, and some people, about 30 minutes, you're kind of done.
Do you have any other activities there, like a silent auction or any giveaways or anything like that?
No, basically what you do is you come in.
You shop.
You come in, the market is open, so you're able to come around, and it's just nice to be able to go meet these wonderful artists. Mm-hmm. So you have time before the show or before the fashion show, and then we have the lunch, and then there's time afterwards to go back and really see and touch the garments that you saw on the runway.
I think that's a wonderful idea for a fundraiser. I think we sort of get inundated, and we have over the last 10 years, with a silent auction. And if you're someone who puts one of those on, or if you are a business owner who has been asked 1,100 million times, and fortunately my husband is in health insurance, so he doesn't really have a whole lot to donate besides a little bit of money. Otherwise, I'm sure they would be knocking his door down all the time. And so I had somebody approach me not too long ago and ask if I would do free yoga lessons. And I thought, that's something I'd like to offer, but I didn't, because you don't know who's going to buy those. And then do you have to go to their house? Maybe not so much.
Yeah, that's true.
So I said, I think not so much. I'd rather just buy another item.
Right.
But, you go to so many of these fundraisers, and there's so many auction. So you think, gosh, I've got to buy the ticket to the fundraiser. And then I'm expected to spend more money on a silent or a live auction, and it becomes an arena. But this is just, you spend a small amount of money for the ticket, lunch is included. Right. Then you don't have to spend any more money beyond if you purchase an outfit. You just enjoy.
Right. And you can come, and people did come last year and not buy anything.
Right.
But they got an edge, they were also educated. I'm not really one to like to sit and sell my stuff, but this was so much fun because people wanted to know, they wanted to hear all about how I made my garments, and it was just pure delight. And I was kind of dreading it because, it's sort of hard to sit there and have people come by and look at your stuff. For me, it's very hard. But it was, this particular thing was not. They liked
beautiful garments that Karen makes. She does a wonderful job. So,
but people were interested, and, you forget, you don't think you know so much until you realize that you do know.
Right.
If you don't sew or don't dye your fabrics, you don't know what I'm doing.
Right.
And so they enjoyed talking and finding out the process.
I think that's always interesting. And, that's one of the things that we need to do is to learn about things and get out of our comfort zone and learn about new techniques and just different things that we're not familiar with. And, Kim, what draws you to the fashion show?
Well, working with Karen.
Karen's the number one draw.
Yeah, Karen.
She's so much fun.
Another committee person is Jenny DeCook.
Oh, yeah.
She's working full-time at Cleveland State, so she was on the committee last year. So basically it was the
we just had so much fun to say. We were just kind of making it up as we went along and came out with a good product.
When I was at the museum, you always try and come up with something every year to entertain people. It's always a vintage fashion show or vintage luncheon. So last year we thought, well, why not just sort of extend what's in the store and offer these products to people and the artists, and it just turned out to be really a great program. And I still love it. Even if I'm not there, I still love working with Karen and helping out the museum. So it's really interesting. But just to meet these artists, it's amazing. They have great stories.
Oh, yeah.
They have wonderful stories.
I was just in the Museum Center's gift shop the other day, and I'm always impressed with all of the really wonderful things, and everything isn't as expensive as you might think.
Right. Of course not. Yeah.
I've bought quite a few pieces of pottery in there that I love, and it's from a Lee University professor. Pieces that you can't find at some of the specialty stores in Chattanooga even, but they're here right, just a mile from your house. And one thing I just heard, I have a big print. It's folk art. It's sort of a map of Cleveland
Yes.
by a local artist. And I had it framed and it hangs in my house. And I love it. It's fun and it's so cute.
It is.
And a friend of mine was telling me that she gives that away as wedding gifts
Oh,
to
that's
people who grew
nice.
up in Cleveland and then they've moved
Yeah.
away. What a great, unique wedding gift.
Yeah. It's
But
great.
that print is very inexpensive.
Oh,
And
yeah.
then to have it framed, I mean, it's not a lot of investment considering, all the enjoyment that you
Right,
receive out of
right.
it.
Yeah.
Well, we have a new store manager, Hewlin Dunn, who's a Lee graduate art student, and he's got a great taste for art. And
That gift shop is good.
It is
I mean,
good.
you
It's
can
great.
do a lot of your gift shopping.
exactly.
there.
And what I love, there is something called a wish list that he has for ladies or the guys. If you
I
want to
need
go
to
in
do
and
that.
create this wish list, and you go in there and pick out things that you like, and maybe he might call Andy for Valentine's Day or Christmas or birthday, or just when he needs to bring home a gift if he's in trouble, and it'll be on the list, and Hewlin will wrap it up for you and take care of it. And that's just a unique little experience that you'll have if you go there. You get personal shoppers to help you out.
And they remember you. I
Exactly.
I had a picture of a mug that I really wanted. So I sent it to Andy and I said, and we don't do a huge gift for Valentine's Day, but I do expect something, And so I said, I would something.
Little.
Yeah, come on. And so I sent Andy the picture of the mug and I said, it's within walking distance from your office.
Exactly.
Surely you can make it happen.
And
So I
they
said,
wrap it up for you.
yeah, it's $20. You can't groan and moan about that. So I
Yeah.
said, I want this coffee mug, and it's at the museum center. I sent him the picture. So then, of course, he got me that, and and he had an article, a newspaper article framed for me. So he did something else creative on his own, which was
Good for
nice.
him.
It was very nice. But so the mug. He brings it home, and I said, "Oh, it's the mug I wanted." I have to act surprised. But if he hadn't had it, I'd say, "Where's my mug?" And so I said, "Oh, it's the mug." And he says, "Yeah." I said, "Well, what else did they have in there? Did they have any bowls or serving platters? Because I need to look at one of those." And he said, "I don't know what else they had." And I go, "Well, you had to walk over there to where the mug was." And you know what he did? He walked right up to Hewlin, and he turned his phone around. And he said, "I need this right here." Hewlin went and got it, wrapped it up. He left.
See, that's why Hewlin has a wish list, so you can write down exactly what you want, and you're going to be able to get it.
I said, "You didn't look around?" And he said, "No, I just came in for the mug."
It's wonderful.
I know. The wish list would be nice.
Yes.
It is.
Everybody would like that.
Now, I know that you mentioned that you have a sponsor, which is the Medford Retirement Group, and I'm assuming that's David Medford
That's David
here
Medford.
in town.
Thank you, David.
And thank you so much, David. And if you all do not know David, I'm sure you know his wonderful wife, Kay. She's fabulous, and she's a nurse practitioner down at Dr. Child's.
Oh, okay.
We all go to Dr. Child's.
Okay.
Except Ken.
I don't. I don't know who that is.
Oh, I'm going to go see him
The
this
OBGYN.
That's
in
what
a
I
couple
thought.
of weeks. I'll go say hello.
Okay.
And
I'll take one of these.
Yeah.
to Dr. Child's.
Yeah.
And so, and you'll have to go in there now.
That's
Wednesday,
right. Yeah, so
Wednesday is Kay's day off, but every other day she's there. I found out that the hard way.
Okay.
I went in for my yearly, and I always get there, and I always try to finagle my way, and I say, "Oh, okay, are you going to do my yearly?" And she'll say, "I will if you want me to." And I say, "Oh, that'd be lovely." And so she always does, and this is my trick. This is what I do. But then I still get to see Dr. Childs. So this last summer, I went in and I said, where's Kay? I didn't see her when I came in. They said, "Today is her day off," and I said, "No." Then Dr. Child said he heard me outside the room. He said, "I heard you in there." But I said, I didn't really bother me that bad. But I thought myself, mental note, Wednesday is her day off. Don't
Remember
forget
that.
it.
Remember that.
So David Medford was generous enough to be a sponsor. Are you looking for any other sponsors?
Sure. We're always looking for sponsors. We'd love to have
I don't
anybody.
think they'd ever turn anybody
No,
down.
no. The museum raises probably 80% of its own budget through fundraisers, membership, rentals, donations. So any sponsorship we could get would be appreciated.
And they'll be on the program. The new sponsors. will
Right,
be on
right. The program that'll be printed up for that day. And, once again, we talked about having table host. If somebody like yourself would like to host a table, if you could just sort of find 7 friends, which I know you could find lots.
Yeah.
If you can find 7 friends that just want to buy a ticket and you be responsible for that table and help us bring all these people in, I think it'll be just money well spent. I just think it's a great Saturday afternoon to come and enjoy the beautiful art and a great luncheon.
It would also be an opportunity for, example, groups from churches. I know that with our church in particular, we have, I can't remember the name of it, but Jackie Johnson heads it up with the senior ladies, and they always have great excursions. And this would be a place they wouldn't have to take transportation because it's right here in town for them to do a table. And
Easy
I'm sure
parking.
those ladies would have a lot to offer and a lot to learn.
And actually, several of them were there last year that, really enjoy this kind of thing. They were looking forward to seeing the wearable art. So we had some of them came last year.
I really believe it'll sell out. I really do.
I think so too.
There was such a great response from people last year about the whole event. It was just a great day, and it didn't take up a full day. So
yeah, and like you're saying, somebody can come and just have a good meal and have some fun, talk to people, and then go home. It's not a huge financial layout. And we do have, as I say, we've got a nice range of prices. So
we do.
Don't think you have to spend $500 if you want something. You can go away with, you can buy something for $45,
right,
$25, and still be able to take something home.
And the great thing about these artists, they're such giving people. They're giving a percentage of their sales to the museum. So that's a great big bonus for the museum. So we're excited about that too.
That's great because the museum provides so many opportunities for children in the community and the area schools to come in and learn. I know that when I brought my den of 14 spirited young lads
I remember.
into the museum, it was great because I do have a lot of boys who cannot usually afford to do things like that, and so it was a big deal. But they brought the price down. Just for the Boy Scouts, that it was affordable, and then they learned about. They had I can't think of her name right now. Jennifer.
Yes.
She did an Indian meal and some Indian flatbread, and
Excuse me.
and we did the tour of and it was just great.
Yeah,
I think the boys learned something. In between me yelling at them to knock it off and
Don't
stop
touch.
running.
Don't touch.
I do think they picked, but and if you have a group like that from your church or with your youth that you want to bring through, the museum's always available for that. And I know that we did ours, I believe, on a Tuesday evening, just if you call ahead and set it up. But events like this help fund events for your own groups and make it accessible. And they have so many interesting things in the museum part, in addition to the exhibits going on.
Right. And definitely if you're going to the Museum Center's website, museumcenter.org, you can see all the great events that are coming up in the next couple of months. I'm real impressed. If you could see this newsletter, you could see what's coming up. There's a lot to do and a lot of educational things for adults and children. So be sure to go to that website to look at what they've got coming up.
Let's see. You've got Stitches in Time. Always, the hand quilting is always really popular.
That's over.
That ended Saturday.
But that was a great tradition that we have.
It's a great tradition. That's always a big, well-attended show. A lot of people come from out of town to see this show. This year was all about hand stitching, 50 antique quilts handmade and 25 and 25, I think. Hand-pieced, hand-stitched quilts. So it was a pretty amazing show.
There was the annual Grape Escape, which was a success.
Always sold out every year. We sell that out at Cafe Roma. It's a wonderful event.
And if you're a young professional between the ages of 21 and 40, there's a Y-Pack mixer that they had. That's a great way to network.
I think that's such a terrific idea to do that.
Exactly.
And in February, there was the Stitches in Time Family Day. And lots going on. Tuesday, March 11th, and Wednesday, March 12th, there's Looking Back the Civil War in Tennessee State Library and Archives. So it's got Civil War era artifacts. Isn't that interesting?
Mm-hmm.
And from the Tennessee State Library. So that would be something to bring your kids to. Oh, let's see here. Here's another one. This, I think parents could come to this. Primary Sources and Common Core Teacher Training Workshop. I need that for myself. I can't figure that out. The homework these kids get sent home with. And I think, good grief, we're only in the second grade in kindergarten. And do you know that they teach them not to borrow? Not to borrow?
I saw that thing on your Facebook.
It boggles my mind.
They teach them what?
Not to borrow. Like if you do 12 plus and you write the 24 underneath, they want you to do it 12 plus 24 across instead of stacked and borrowing.
Really?
Well, but there's one teacher who explained it on her comments. I couldn't figure that out. I guess some kids think differently, and I don't know.
It's hard for me to explain it to my kids, and I always, as I'm trying to, I just could never. I have patience with my own children. I don't know that I could ever have the patience to teach something like that to a group of kids who weren't my own.
Well, if you take a group of Boy Scouts to the museum, I think you have some patience.
Just for that 1 hour.
And definitely call Joy Veenstra. She's new on the staff at the museum. She's got great experience. She came from the D.C. area from a museum there and was excited to come back to Cleveland, which is her hometown. She's doing a great job. So call Joy Veenstra. She'll be glad to set up a program for you for the kids.
Do you all know what this Common People and Uncommon Times is?
I think that's an exhibit from the Tennessee State Museum.
Another exhibit from that. And
I believe.
Thursday, April 3rd, coming up is Andrew Jackson and the Trail of Tears. Very interesting. I had a teacher once when I was growing up, and she just could not say enough horrible things about him. And of course, she was a Cherokee Indian descent, as most of us are in this area, And she just thought they should burn his birth home. I mean, she just, because of the way he treated the Cherokees. And so that would be interesting as far as history. And those of you that are interested in the Confederacy, the Confederate Treasury in the Midnight Raid on Chennault, Georgia, will be showcased on Thursday, April 24th. That's my 15th wedding anniversary, and I can't think of a more romantic way to celebrate with Andy.
Yes, Andy will be.
And get another $20 mug.
You can go to the new restaurant. Go to 5 Point Square, new restaurant, and then you come down to the museum for the program.
We got a new restaurant. That's exciting.
I love it. But definitely go on the website. These are a lot of details are spelled out for you more than what we.
Yeah, the website is really good.
And you're going to find this, and the website is would they just go to the Museum Center at 5 Points website?
museumcenter.org.
Yeah.
Or you can call the Museum Center at 339-5745. Shopping will be open to the general public from 1:30 to 3. So just after the show, you can come in, although it would be better for you to purchase a ticket beforehand because you want to have, of course, first dibs on things.
Yeah, we wanted to make it, if somebody couldn't or didn't want to come to the luncheon but was still interested in shopping, we wanted to open it up to them after the lunch was over. So,
or if you're someone who works downtown, you can still purchase a ticket, come have lunch, still see a few things, and then get back in time.
And you can purchase these tickets online. If you come to that website, they've got a real good system now that you can just do everything online.
So do you think this is something you'll do every year?
I think so.
Well, this is only our second time.
Right.
I mean, it was such a success last year that we immediately wanted to put it on the calendar. And
if you've ever seen Karen work, and she's kind of behind the scenes kind of girl worker, but the whole show was so organized in the back, down the back of the hallway at the museum where the dressing rooms were and the models, and she had it all laid out. It was just an amazing
had
amount
everything
of
color coded, which made sense to me.
Yeah.
It didn't make sense to everybody, but in my mind, it was.
So it's a well-executed show. I mean, she does a great job, and like I said, Jenny the cook's very helpful in this.
We're a good trio. We all kind of do different things.
Now, Ken, as a man, what if there's a man out there that's interested in this, and he says, "Oh, that's just for the ladies"?
No. You're going to get brownie points if you come and buy something for your wife.
That's right.
So, all the guys, you need to come.
We had several men last year, and we have several men who are really excellent weavers, and to them it's fascinating.
So Dr. Bird?
Jack Bird is an outstanding weaver. In fact, his wife Vicki bought a jacket last year from one of our.
He's a jack of all trades.
Yes.
Literally, Jack Bird is a jack of all trades because he also makes his own bread, his own wheat bread.
Yes, he does a lot.
Oh, okay.
I mean, like from scratch, like the olden days.
For communion.
He does the communion loaf. Yes.
Wow.
Anyway,
and they're also homestay hosts for two of the artists, right?
Oh.
Yeah, two of the weavers are going to stay with them.
Ken, did you buy anything last year? Was there anything you had your eye on?
Well, the kimono I thought was pretty neat, but it wasn't for sale, was it?
No, it was not for sale.
Wasn't for sale. The scarves are amazing. I was just blown away by the quality. And just like I said, I just love meeting the people and the artist, and that's what's so great about the host show.
Yeah,
and the lunch, it's good.
Now, one of the artists who couldn't be here this year, hopefully we'll have her next year, does marbling on silk. and she does men's ties, and I've bought several of her ties up in the Asheville area. But so she's not going to be here this year, but hopefully next year we will have some wonderful men's ties. So
Any
that'll be-
blankets? No,
You
it's
know,
wearable. It's wearable.
Yeah,
So
we stayed away from, because there are some beautiful hand-woven blankets and towels and things like that, but we've stayed away from that because we want it to be able to go on your body.
socks or underwear?
I have some hand-dyed socks in the show. I could pull those out.
I would like those.
Those bamboo socks
Yeah,
that I've
yeah.
got.
Though that doesn't sound comfortable.
No underwear. I'm sorry.
Oh, they're so soft. Yeah, we didn't go for underwear unless we don't have any underwear, I'm sorry to say.
Well,
Maybe next year we can get some custom corset makers in there or something.
the yoga studio that I'm teaching at has started selling a new line of clothes that kind of falls in line with this. And she announced it last night that all of the clothes are made from recycled plastic bottles.
Ooh.
And but she assured us that they would be unique.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know that they'd be comfortable to do
they
yoga
are.
in.
No, they are.
Are they?
Yes, they have.
I just keep
a
thinking it would
lot of,
hurt.
and I think a lot of your outerwear is made from recycled plastic. It's a wonderful thing.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't tell you, you wouldn't know that they were made from recycled bottles. So it's a good thing. So
That is.
drink up your Diet Coke and know that it's going to go to a good cause.
It's going to go on
Exactly.
someone's bottom
Gotta wear
later.
it.
Well, thanks for joining us. Did you
Thank
have
you.
anything else you wanted to add?
Well, once again, if you have questions, call the museum and talk to Hewlin at 339-5745. Better yet, go to the website to buy your tickets. I just don't think you'll be disappointed. I'm
And
so
don't
proud
wait
of
too
this
long
show.
because we are expecting it to sell out.
Exactly. And there are deadlines. You can get the cheaper price.
Yeah.
And then after a certain deadline, the price does go up. But you're not going to be disappointed. I hope to see you there, Sissy.
Yes.
I know. Well, I'm looking at the date, and I don't know that I'm going to be there because
Okay.
I'm actually going to be in Asheville.
Okay.
I know. I'm going to be like passing people on the
Yeah,
interstate.
you are, yeah.
Andy and I are celebrating our 15th anniversary.
Right.
We're going to celebrate a little bit early, and then, of course, later on the actual date at the Confederacy display at the museum.
That's great.
And
I love it.
that's probably not going to happen, but
That's okay.
but but I think I could definitely. I'm going to talk to some of my friends to get a group together
Oh, yeah.
because if I can't go, then I'd like to at least tell them
Get
about
them,
it because
yeah.
it's a great day out. And if you have a church
is.
group, and oftentimes even in churches, you often say we need to get the women together for something and build our community. So it would be a great event for your church group.
It would be.
Or a group of friends that you haven't
course.
been together in a while.
And you're supporting your local museum.
Yes.
So it's a great benefit for everybody.
Yes. So come play with us.
Come play.
And with that said, speaking of fashion shows, I didn't really realize that this was going to be sort of the theme for a while on the show. But next week, this week we featured a local fashion show. So that fashion show will be taking place in March. And I did want to tell you about another fashion show that'll be coming up in April. But this next fashion show is in Chattanooga, and it's going to be in May. It'll be May the 1st, and it's the Sissys Style Works. So next week on the 10th, I'll have Rochelle Haddock and the other co-chair of the Sissys Style Works. That's a little bit different because Belk is the one that sponsors that. It's held at the Chattanooga Trade and Convention Center, and they'll be on next week to talk about that. Oftentimes, we don't get a chance to make it down to downtown Chattanooga and fight that traffic. And if you don't, best thing to do, stay here, support local, and hope to see you all at the Fiberworks Fashion Show and Market. And with that said, hope you'll tune in next week, and thanks for joining us.